Hello, friend. Welcome to Science for Sleep. Tonight, we're spending time with the calm silence of healing. Not as a goal, not as something to work toward, but as a condition that already exists beneath the surface of ordinary life. Many people arrive here quietly, not because something dramatic has happened, but because there has been very little space to pause. Days often move quickly. Sounds overlap. Screens glow late. Thoughts continue even when the body is tired. In that kind of environment, it's common to wonder whether healing is happening at all. Healing rarely announces itself. It doesn't arrive with a clear signal or a strong feeling. More often, it unfolds without sensation, without emotion, and without narrative. The body repairs itself in ways that are easy to miss, especially when attention has been trained to look for change, progress, or improvement. Silence plays an important role here. Not silence as emptiness, but silence as reduced input. Fewer sounds entering the ears, less visual detail to track, fewer demands placed on awareness. In these quieter conditions, the nervous system begins to shift its priorities. From a biological perspective, healing is not something the body has to be instructed to do. Cells are replaced constantly. Tissues repair themselves while you're unaware of it. Immune responses adjust without asking for permission. These processes are always moving forward, but they work most efficiently when the system is not busy scanning, reacting, or preparing. When stimulation decreases, vigilance softens. Heart rate slows slightly. Muscle tension reduces without effort. Hormonal signals associated with repair and regulation are given more space to circulate. This is not because anything is being forced to relax, but because fewer resources are being spent on monitoring the environment. Many people expect healing to feel warm, emotional, or comforting. In reality, it often feels neutral, sometimes even unremarkable. The absence of discomfort does not always register as a positive sensation, especially in a culture that associates change with intensity. But neutrality is often a sign that the body is no longer on alert. Quiet environments support this process in simple ways. Lower sound levels reduce auditory processing demands. Dim or stable lighting decreases visual complexity. When fewer signals are coming in, fewer interpretations are required. The mind has less to sort, label, or evaluate. That reduction alone frees energy for maintenance and repair. If you enjoy these quiet journeys, you're welcome to subscribe. And if it feels natural, to leave a comment sharing where you're listening from tonight. It helps others find their way to this calm corner of the world, one sleepy traveler at a time. The quiet continues here, just as it is. Healing does not require attention to continue. It does not improve when watched closely. In fact, many restorative processes function best when they are not being tracked at all. Just as wounds close more effectively when left undisturbed, internal systems often recalibrate most smoothly when they are allowed to operate in the background. Silence helps create that background, not by stopping thoughts, but by giving them less fuel. Not by demanding rest, but by removing the conditions that prevent it. Over time, the body recognizes these quieter moments as safe enough to prioritize long-term maintenance over short-term response. If you're listening tonight and nothing feels especially different, that is not a problem. Healing is not always accompanied by sensation. Often, it is marked by the absence of urgency, by fewer internal alarms, by a subtle sense that nothing needs to be managed right now. As sound levels settle and input continues to soften, the body remains at work. Breathing adjusts on its own. Circulation maintains its rhythm. Cells continue their quiet tasks without commentary. This is what healing often looks like when it is allowed to proceed naturally. There is nothing you need to do to support it in this moment. Nothing to focus on, nothing to achieve. Silence itself provides the conditions, and within that calm, the body continues its steady, unremarkable, deeply intelligent work. I'm glad you're here. Healing often feels difficult to recognize because the body does not mark it with clear signals. Many processes that restore balance operate quietly, without producing sensations that draw attention. There is no internal notification when inflammation eases, no clear moment when cellular repair finishes a cycle, no obvious shift when stress hormones return to baseline. Because of this, it's common to assume that nothing is happening. The body does not experience healing as an event. It experiences it as a background function. In daily life, attention is usually pulled toward contrast. Pain is noticeable because it interrupts. Fatigue stands out because it limits movement. Discomfort demands explanation. Healing, by contrast, removes interruptions rather than creating them. When something stops hurting, the absence is subtle. When tension fades, it often does so gradually, without a clear edge. From a neurological standpoint, this makes sense. The nervous system is designed to detect change, especially change that signals threat. Sharp sensations, sudden sounds, and unexpected movement receive priority processing. Quiet stabilization does not. When conditions improve slowly and safely, the system does not flag them as important. Silence contributes to this effect as sound levels decrease and visual complexity softens. Fewer sensory signals compete for attention. Auditory processing regions become less active. The visual system tracks fewer details. The mind is required to interpret less information moment to moment. This reduction does not feel dramatic because it is not meant to. In fact, the absence of noticeable sensation is often an indicator that vigilance has eased. When the system no longer needs to scan constantly, awareness settles into a flatter, more neutral state. There is less internal commentary, fewer micro-adjustments, less anticipation of what might happen next. Healing favors this neutrality. Repair processes rely on stable internal conditions. Blood flow distributes nutrients consistently. Hormonal signals follow slower rhythms. Immune activity becomes more regulated rather than reactive. These shifts occur below conscious awareness because conscious awareness is not required for them to function. Many people expect rest to feel comforting, warm, emotionally reassuring. But biologically, rest is often unremarkable. The body does not reward healing with sensation because sensation would defeat the purpose. Strong feelings activate attention. Attention increases monitoring. Monitoring increases arousal. Silence reduces this cycle by lowering overall demand. Lower sound input means fewer signals entering auditory pathways. That reduces the need for rapid interpretation. Stable lighting lowers visual scanning. Predictable surroundings reduce uncertainty. Each of these changes frees small amounts of energy that would otherwise be spent on readiness and response. Over time, those small savings accumulate. They are redirected toward maintenance tasks that never stop, but often slow under pressure. Protein synthesis, cellular cleanup, tissue repair, neural recalibration. None of these processes announce themselves, and none benefit from being observed closely. This is why healing often feels indistinct, not because it isn't happening, but because it happens best when it blends into the background. The body does not need awareness to heal. It needs conditions. Silence provides one of those conditions by reducing the number of decisions the system must make. Less to evaluate, less to predict, less to prepare for. The nervous system interprets this steadiness as safety, even if no emotion accompanies it. If you notice moments where nothing stands out, that is not emptiness. It is often stability. A stable internal environment requires less correction. Heart rhythm becomes more regular. Breathing finds an efficient pace. Muscle tone equalizes without instruction. These changes are subtle, precisely because they are successful. The absence of sensation is not the absence of progress. It is often the absence of disturbance. As silence continues, the system remains engaged in its work, quietly, without feedback, without urgency. Healing does not need to feel like something is happening in order to continue happening. And so, the lack of obvious change becomes part of the signal itself, a sign that the system no longer needs to draw attention inward, a sign that the work can proceed without interruption. Silence does not highlight healing. It allows it to remain uninterrupted. Silence is often misunderstood as absence, but biologically, it functions more like a stabilizing field. When sound fades and visual demand softens, the body does not interpret that as nothing happening. It interprets it as a reduction in required response. Fewer signals arrive that need sorting. Fewer changes need to be tracked. Fewer outcomes need to be predicted. This shift is subtle, but it has measurable effects. Auditory input is one of the fastest ways the nervous system stays alert. Sudden sounds activate orienting responses almost instantly. Even low-level background noise keeps sensory circuits engaged, quietly consuming energy. When sound levels drop, those circuits downshift. They do not shut off, but they move into a monitoring state rather than an active scanning state. The same is true visually. High contrast, motion, and brightness demand continuous processing. When visual complexity reduces, the brain receives fewer cues that something new requires attention. This allows processing speed to slow without loss of awareness. The world does not disappear. It simply becomes less demanding. Silence, in this sense, is not empty. It is a condition where fewer resources are allocated to interpretation. This matters because healing competes for the same energy pool as vigilance. The body cannot maximize repair while simultaneously preparing for constant response. When stimulation remains high, resources are diverted toward readiness. Muscles stay slightly tense. Heart rate remains elevated. Hormonal signals favor short-term action over long-term maintenance. In quieter conditions, that balance shifts. The parasympathetic branch of the nervous system gains influence. This system supports digestion, immune regulation, tissue repair, and recovery. It operates best when external demand is low and predictable. Silence contributes to that predictability by reducing surprise. Importantly, silence does not force this shift. There is no command being issued, no instruction given to relax. The change happens automatically when competing inputs decrease. This is why silence can feel neutral rather than soothing. Soothing implies sensation. Silence often removes sensation instead. The absence of constant sound means the auditory system no longer needs to amplify subtle changes. The absence of visual motion reduces the need for rapid eye movement and tracking. As these demands fall away, internal systems are given more consistent conditions in which to operate. From a physiological perspective, consistency matters more than intensity. Healing processes depend on steady blood flow, stable temperature, and predictable chemical signaling. Large fluctuations disrupt this. Silence helps minimize those fluctuations by reducing external triggers. The mind also responds to this reduction. With fewer inputs arriving, there is less material to analyze. Fewer comparisons are made. Fewer evaluations are required. Thought does not stop, but it becomes less urgent. This reduced urgency is significant. Urgency keeps systems primed for action. When urgency fades, maintenance can resume. Silence creates a background where nothing needs immediate interpretation. The nervous system reads this as a safe enough interval to shift priorities. Repair is not rushed. It is continuous. This is why healing often aligns with quiet environments, even when no rest is intended. Moments of stillness during the day, early evening when activity slows, periods where input naturally decreases. In these spaces, the body recalibrates without instruction. Silence does not heal on its own, but it removes obstacles that prevent healing from proceeding efficiently. When fewer signals compete for attention, internal systems regain their natural rhythm. Breathing becomes more regular. Heart rate variability increases slightly. Muscle tone evens out. None of these changes demand awareness. Silence is not the absence of activity. It is the absence of interference. Within that absence, healing does not need to announce itself. It simply continues, steady and unremarkable, supported by conditions that ask very little of the system. And so silence becomes not a void, but a quiet framework, one that allows the body to do what it has always been designed to do, without distraction or delay. The body is oriented toward repair by default. This is not a behavior that needs to be activated. It is a baseline direction that continues unless something interferes. Cells divide and replace themselves continuously. Damaged proteins are broken down and rebuilt. Immune activity adjusts moment by moment, correcting small imbalances long before they are felt. Most of this work happens quietly. Skin renews itself without sensation. Blood vessels adapt to changing demand without awareness. Neural connections strengthen or weaken based on use, without requiring attention. These processes do not wait for rest to begin, and they do not stop when activity resumes. They are always in motion, operating beneath perception. What changes is how efficiently they can proceed. When the body is exposed to constant stimulation, resources are redirected. Energy is shifted toward alertness. Hormonal signals favor readiness. Muscles maintain low-level tension. The system stays prepared to respond rather than restore. This does not mean healing stops. It means it slows. Silence alters this balance not by adding something new, but by removing ongoing demand. When sound levels drop and visual input stabilizes, fewer signals require immediate interpretation. The nervous system no longer needs to prioritize speed and reaction. This allows internal processes to reclaim bandwidth. From a physiological standpoint, this shift is subtle but meaningful. Blood flow becomes more evenly distributed. Digestive activity increases slightly. Immune signaling becomes less reactive and more regulated. These changes support repair, even if they are never noticed. The body does not interpret silence as inactivity. It interprets it as permission to return to maintenance. Maintenance is not dramatic. It does not create sensation. It does not require awareness. But it is essential. Much of healing consists of correcting small deviations before they become problems. Balancing electrolytes, clearing metabolic waste, repairing microscopic tissue damage. These tasks are continuous, and they depend on consistency more than intensity. Silence supports that consistency. When fewer external demands interrupt internal rhythms, the body can operate closer to its natural pace. Heart rate variability increases slightly, reflecting adaptability. Breathing becomes more efficient. Muscle tone settles into a lower, more sustainable baseline. None of this requires effort. In fact, effort can interfere. Monitoring progress, searching for signs, or waiting for a feeling of improvement increases cognitive load. Cognitive load feeds back into the nervous system, increasing arousal. Arousal reallocates resources away from maintenance and toward readiness. This is why healing does not benefit from being watched closely. The body already knows what to do. It does not need direction. It needs conditions that allow its default processes to proceed without interruption. Silence contributes by reducing variability, fewer sudden changes, fewer unexpected signals, less need for rapid adjustment. Over time, this steadiness allows repair to accumulate. Small corrections compound. Systems drift back toward balance without requiring attention. The absence of sensation during this process is not a failure of awareness. It is a sign that the system does not need to draw focus inward. Healing works best when it blends into the background, when it does not compete with thought, sound, or movement, when it is allowed to remain ordinary. Silence does not initiate healing. It simply removes what slows it down. And in that quieter state, the body continues doing what it has always done. Repairing, rebalancing, returning gradually and without announcement toward its own stable center. Constant input changes how the body allocates its energy. Sound, movement, novelty, and information all require processing. Even when they feel familiar, they demand small, repeated adjustments. The ears remain alert for changes in volume or direction. The eyes track contrast, motion, and light. The nervous system stays prepared to respond, even if no response is needed. This state is subtle, but it is continuous. When stimulation remains present for long periods, the body treats the environment as something that must be managed. Muscle tone stays slightly elevated. Breathing adapts to remain ready. Hormonal signals support alertness rather than repair. None of this feels dramatic, yet it quietly draws resources away from maintenance. Healing does not stop under these conditions. It becomes less efficient. The body prioritizes survival over restoration, readiness over renewal, short-term response over long-term repair. This prioritization happens automatically, without conscious choice, because the nervous system evolved to respond to environments that demanded constant attention. In modern life, stimulation rarely signals danger, but the system does not make that distinction easily. Repeated notifications, overlapping sounds, visual clutter, and constant change all resemble unpredictability at a biological level. Unpredictability keeps vigilance active. Silence interrupts this pattern by reducing the number of variables the system must track. When sound decreases, the auditory system no longer needs to amplify small changes. This lowers baseline alertness. When visual input stabilizes, the eyes move less, and visual processing demands decrease. When novelty fades, the nervous system reduces its readiness for rapid response. These changes do not register as relaxation. They register as reduced demand. Reduced demand frees energy. That energy is redirected toward internal processes that operate best when conditions are steady. Digestive activity becomes more consistent. Immune signaling shifts away from reactive patterns. Tissue repair gains access to resources that were previously allocated elsewhere. Constant input also affects the mind. When information continues to arrive without pause, the mind remains engaged in sorting, labeling, and predicting. Even passive input requires interpretation. Music, conversation, screens, and background noise all generate internal commentary, however faint. This commentary increases cognitive load. Cognitive load feeds back into the nervous system, reinforcing alertness. Alertness sustains the state that delays healing. Silence reduces this loop. With fewer signals arriving, there is less material to process. Thought becomes simpler, not because it is controlled, but because it is less provoked. The mind does not need to make sense of what is not changing. This simplicity supports recovery. Healing processes depend on consistency. They require stable temperature, steady circulation, and predictable chemical signaling. Large swings in arousal disrupt these conditions. Constant input contributes to those swings by repeatedly nudging the system toward response. Silence smooths those fluctuations. Over time, this smoothing effect allows internal rhythms to reassert themselves. Breathing finds an efficient pattern without effort. Heart rhythm becomes more adaptable. Muscle tension distributes evenly rather than clustering in readiness. These changes accumulate quietly. They are not experienced as progress. They are experienced as absence. Absence of tension. Absence of urgency. Absence of internal noise. This absence is often misinterpreted. In a culture that values stimulation, silence can feel unproductive. A lack of sensation can feel like stagnation. But biologically, the opposite is often true. When input slows, repair accelerates. This does not require isolation or extreme quiet. Even small reductions in stimulation have measurable effects. Lower volume, fewer competing sounds, less visual complexity, more predictable surroundings. Each reduction removes a small obstacle. Healing does not need ideal conditions to begin. It needs fewer interruptions to continue. The body does not wait for perfect silence. It responds to gradients. As demand decreases, efficiency increases. This is why periods of relative quiet often coincide with recovery, even if they are brief. Early morning, late evening, moments between activity. In these intervals, the system shifts subtly, redirecting attention inward without awareness. Constant input delays healing not by causing harm, but by keeping the system busy. Silence gives the body permission to stop preparing and start maintaining. Not through instruction, not through effort, but through the simple removal of excess demand. When less is required, more becomes possible. And so healing continues, not because anything new has been added, but because something unnecessary has been allowed to fall away. When vigilance drops, the body reallocates its attention inward. Vigilance is not a feeling. It is a state of readiness maintained by the nervous system. When the environment is unpredictable, vigilance remains elevated. The body prepares for response even when no response is required. This preparation has a cost. Muscles hold tension in anticipation of movement. Heart rate stays slightly elevated to support rapid action. Breathing remains shallow enough to adjust quickly. Hormonal signals favor alertness over restoration. None of this feels dramatic, but it quietly diverts resources. Silence alters this state by changing what the system expects. When sound becomes steady or fades, fewer cues suggest sudden change. When visual input stabilizes, fewer movements require tracking. When the environment remains consistent, the nervous system updates its predictions. It no longer needs to stay primed for immediate reaction. This update happens automatically. As vigilance softens, the sympathetic branch of the nervous system reduces its influence. The parasympathetic branch becomes more active. This shift supports processes associated with repair, regulation, and recovery. Digestion improves. Immune responses become less reactive. Circulatory patterns favor maintenance rather than mobilization. The transition is gradual. There is no clear moment when vigilance turns off. It simply becomes unnecessary. As fewer signals demand interpretation, readiness fades into monitoring. Monitoring requires less energy than response. This difference matters. Energy conserved from reduced vigilance is redirected toward internal systems. Cells receive more consistent blood flow. Metabolic waste is cleared more efficiently. Repair mechanisms operate with fewer interruptions. These processes occur continuously, without sensation. The body recognizes low-demand conditions as safe enough to invest in long-term stability. Importantly, this shift does not require calm thoughts or emotional comfort. It does not depend on belief or intention. It depends on predictability. Silence increases predictability by reducing variation. When fewer changes occur, fewer adjustments are needed. The system settles into a rhythm that favors maintenance. The mind reflects this shift. With vigilance lowered, internal commentary decreases. Thoughts become less urgent. There is less scanning for problems to solve. The absence of demand reduces the need for explanation. This is often mistaken for boredom or emptiness. In reality, it is regulation. Regulation does not feel stimulating. It feels neutral. From a biological perspective, neutrality is efficient. Stable conditions allow repair processes to proceed without disruption. Large emotional or sensory fluctuations interrupt this stability by reactivating vigilance. Silence minimizes those fluctuations. Over time, the reduction in vigilance produces cumulative effects. Muscle tension equalizes. Heart rhythm becomes more adaptable. Breathing deepens slightly without effort. These changes support healing even when they are not noticed. The body does not need to be convinced to relax. It needs fewer reasons to stay alert. Silence provides that by removing excess signals. As demand falls away, vigilance no longer serves a purpose. When vigilance recedes, repair takes priority. This sequence unfolds quietly. Nothing announces the transition. Nothing marks the moment vigilance drops. The system simply shifts, reallocating energy from preparation to preservation. And in that quieter allocation, healing continues, supported by conditions that ask very little and provide just enough consistency for the body to return to its natural rhythm. Silence interacts with the nervous system in a direct and measurable way. The nervous system is constantly assessing the environment for change, not consciously, but automatically. Every sound, movement, and shift in light is evaluated for relevance. This evaluation happens continuously, even when attention feels relaxed. When sound is present, auditory pathways remain active. They monitor volume, direction, and pattern. Sudden changes trigger orienting responses that prepare the body to react. Even steady background noise keeps these pathways engaged at a low level. Silence changes this baseline. As sound levels decrease, auditory processing demand drops. Neural firing in sound-sensitive regions slows slightly. The system no longer needs to amplify faint signals or stay primed for interruption. This does not create absence. It creates efficiency. Visual processing responds in a similar way. When lighting remains stable and visual motion is minimal, the eyes make fewer rapid adjustments. The brain receives fewer cues that require interpretation. Processing speed can slow without reducing awareness of surroundings. These reductions matter because the nervous system operates as a whole. When sensory demand decreases, the balance between its two primary branches shifts. The sympathetic branch, responsible for readiness and response, becomes less dominant. The parasympathetic branch, associated with regulation and repair, gains influence. This shift supports healing. Parasympathetic activity encourages slower, deeper breathing. It supports digestive function. It promotes immune balance and tissue repair. These processes are ongoing, but they become more efficient when they are not competing with constant alertness. Silence does not force the nervous system into this state. It removes the need to remain elsewhere. Predictable environments reduce uncertainty. Reduced uncertainty lowers vigilance. Lower vigilance frees resources. This sequence is automatic. No instruction is required. The body responds to conditions, not commands. The nervous system is particularly sensitive to change rather than intensity. A loud sound that remains constant is less activating than a quiet sound that appears unpredictably. Silence reduces both intensity and variation. This combination signals stability. Stability allows internal rhythms to reassert themselves. Heart rate becomes more adaptable. Breathing synchronizes with metabolic needs rather than external cues. Muscle tone distributes evenly instead of remaining clustered in readiness. These adjustments are subtle. They are not meant to be noticed. Healing benefits from this subtlety. Large shifts draw attention. Attention increases monitoring. Monitoring increases arousal. Silence avoids this cascade by lowering demand without creating contrast. The nervous system remains active, but it is no longer busy. It monitors rather than prepares. It maintains rather than reacts. Over time, this state supports recovery across multiple systems. Energy is conserved. Resources are redirected inward. Repair continues without interruption. This is why silence is so closely associated with healing across cultures and environments. Not because it causes healing, but because it creates conditions where healing does not have to compete. The nervous system is always responding to what surrounds it. When what surrounds it becomes simpler, steadier, and quieter, the response follows. And within that quieter response, the body continues its quiet work, repairing, rebalancing, returning gradually and without signal toward its own stable equilibrium. Healing often continues most effectively when it is not being observed. Many of the body's restorative processes take place below conscious awareness. They do not generate sensation. They do not announce progress. They do not provide feedback in real time. This is not an oversight. It is how these systems are designed to function. From a biological standpoint, awareness is not required for repair. Cells replace themselves without instruction. Inflammatory responses resolve gradually without signaling completion. Neural connections adjust strength and efficiency without conscious input. These processes operate continuously, whether attention is directed toward them or not. Because of this, healing is often mistaken for inactivity. When nothing is felt, nothing seems to be happening. When no change is noticed, progress appears absent. But the absence of sensation is often a sign that systems are operating smoothly rather than urgently. Pain and discomfort exist to capture attention. They interrupt normal function to signal a problem. Healing does the opposite. It removes interruption. As a result, it rarely draws focus. Silence reinforces this pattern. In quieter conditions, there are fewer external signals competing for attention. The nervous system reduces its outward monitoring. Internal processes continue without interference. The lack of sensation becomes more noticeable only because contrast has been reduced. This can feel unfamiliar. Many people are accustomed to measuring change through feeling. Improvement is expected to feel lighter, warmer, or emotionally different. When none of that appears, it can seem as though nothing is occurring. Biologically, this expectation is misplaced. Healing is not designed to be felt. It is designed to restore function efficiently. Efficiency favors minimal sensation. The immune system, for example, becomes less noticeable as it resolves inflammation. Circulation normalizes without announcing itself. Hormonal systems return to baseline quietly. These changes reduce internal noise rather than creating new signals. Silence allows this quiet resolution to continue uninterrupted. When attention is not drawn inward by sensation, there is less monitoring. Less monitoring reduces arousal. Reduced arousal supports further regulation. This creates a reinforcing loop where healing proceeds best when it remains in the background. The mind reflects this state. Without strong internal signals to track, thought becomes less occupied with interpretation. There is less need to assess progress or search for meaning. The absence of narrative allows physiological processes to proceed without cognitive interference. This is why healing often feels invisible, not because it is ineffective, but because it is efficient. Systems that function well do not demand attention. They operate quietly, consistently, and without variation. Silence supports this by reducing the number of events that would otherwise pull focus outward. Over time, the accumulation of small, unnoticed adjustments leads to meaningful restoration. Tissues strengthen. Regulatory systems stabilize. Energy distribution improves. None of this arrives as a moment. It arrives as steadiness. Healing without awareness is not passive. It is active work happening beyond perception. Silence does not initiate this work. It simply allows it to remain uninterrupted. If nothing feels different, that does not indicate delay. It often indicates that the system no longer needs to signal for attention. In that absence of signal, the body continues, quietly adjusting, quietly repairing, quietly maintaining balance without drawing focus. Silence makes room for this kind of healing by stepping out of the way. And so the work continues, not as an experience to notice, but as a process that unfolds most effectively when it does not need to be seen at all. Rest often feels less like comfort and more like nothing in particular. This can be surprising. Many people expect rest to arrive with a noticeable sense of relief, a feeling of softness, a warmth or emotional release. When that doesn't happen, it's easy to assume rest isn't working. Biologically, this expectation does not align with how recovery actually unfolds. The body does not mark effective rest with sensation. Sensation is used to signal change, threat, or imbalance. When systems stabilize, signaling reduces. The result is a state that feels flat, neutral, or unremarkable. This neutrality is often mistaken for absence. When tension fades gradually, there is no sharp contrast to register. When inflammation resolves slowly, there is no moment of release. When nervous system activity shifts from readiness to regulation, the transition is smooth enough to avoid detection. Silence amplifies this effect. In quieter conditions, there are fewer external cues to create contrast. No sudden sounds to interrupt. No bright changes to draw focus. Without contrast, the system has no reason to highlight internal shifts. What remains is steadiness. Steadiness does not feel like improvement. It feels like nothing calling for attention. From a physiological standpoint, this is ideal. Healing depends on stable internal conditions, consistent circulation, predictable hormonal signaling, even distribution of muscle tone. These conditions are disrupted by strong sensation and restored through neutrality. Rest that feels uneventful is often rest that is effective. The nervous system responds to silence by reducing urgency. Urgency is metabolically expensive. It keeps systems primed for action. When urgency fades, energy is conserved and redirected. This redirection is subtle. Breathing becomes more efficient without changing dramatically. Heart rhythm gains flexibility without noticeable slowing. Muscle tension redistributes rather than collapsing into relaxation. These shifts support repair without producing sensation. The mind experiences this as quiet. Quiet is frequently misunderstood as emptiness. In reality, it reflects a reduction in processing demand. Fewer signals arrive. Fewer interpretations are required. Fewer predictions need to be made. This simplicity can feel unfamiliar. In environments where stimulation is constant, the absence of input can feel disorienting. Without noise, the system notices its own lack of urgency. That lack can be mistaken for boredom or stagnation. Biologically, it is regulation. Regulation does not stimulate, it stabilizes. Healing favors this stabilization because it allows internal systems to operate without interruption. Large emotional shifts or strong sensations activate monitoring. Monitoring increases arousal. Arousal reallocates resources away from maintenance. Silence avoids this cycle by keeping conditions even. Over time, this evenness allows small corrections to accumulate. Minor imbalances are resolved before they grow. Energy distribution improves without effort. The body spends less time compensating and more time maintaining. None of this announces itself. That is why rest can feel uneventful. Not because nothing is happening, but because nothing needs to be signaled. The absence of sensation is not a failure of rest. It is often its success. When rest feels neutral, the nervous system is no longer asking for attention. It does not need to alert the mind. It does not need to provoke action. Silence supports this state by removing triggers that would otherwise reintroduce urgency. No sudden demands, no rapid changes, no need to prepare. The body interprets this consistency as safety. Safety allows repair to proceed without escalation, without intensity, without the need for emotional reinforcement. Healing does not require reassurance. It requires conditions that do not interfere. Rest that feels uneventful provides those conditions. If you notice a lack of sensation during quiet moments, that is not a sign of delay. It is often a sign that the system has nothing to report. The work continues in the background. Cells renew. Systems recalibrate. Energy redistributes. Silence does not make this work visible. It allows it to remain efficient. And so rest settles into neutrality. Not as emptiness, but as a steady field where healing can continue without interruption or demand. Time behaves differently during recovery. This difference is not psychological. It is physiological. When the body is in a state of vigilance, time is experienced as compressed. Moments feel urgent. Sequences move quickly. Attention jumps ahead, anticipating what might be required next. The nervous system prioritizes speed because speed supports response. Healing does not use this version of time. Repair unfolds according to biological rhythms that are slower, steadier, and less sensitive to expectation. Cells regenerate on cycles measured in hours, days, and weeks. Inflammatory processes resolve gradually. Hormonal systems rebalance across extended intervals. These processes are not accelerated by urgency. Silence changes how these rhythms are experienced. When stimulation decreases, fewer external cues mark the passage of time. Without frequent interruptions, moments blend together. The nervous system stops tracking intervals as closely. Time feels less segmented. This does not mean healing slows. It means awareness of time loosens. From a physiological perspective, this loosening is beneficial. Constant time checking keeps vigilance active. Active vigilance sustains arousal. Arousal diverts energy away from maintenance. Silence reduces these cues. With fewer sounds and less visual change, the body no longer needs to timestamp every moment. Internal rhythms take precedence over external pacing. Breathing aligns with metabolic need rather than schedule. Heart rhythm follows internal demand rather than anticipation. Healing depends on this internal pacing. Repair processes are sensitive to consistency, not speed. Rapid shifts in state interrupt signaling cascades. Stable conditions allow them to complete their cycles without disruption. Time pressure interferes with this stability. When recovery is expected to happen quickly, monitoring increases. Monitoring elevates arousal. Elevated arousal reallocates resources toward readiness rather than repair. Silence removes much of this pressure by reducing reference points. Without constant markers, there is less comparison between now and later. The system stops asking how long something is taking. This does not require conscious acceptance. It occurs automatically when input decreases. The mind reflects this change. Thoughts about progress soften. Narratives about delay lose urgency. Attention drifts less toward outcome and more toward neutrality. This neutral relationship with time supports healing. The body does not heal faster when watched. It heals more effectively when allowed to follow its own tempo. Biological systems are not designed to meet deadlines. They are designed to restore balance reliably. Silence creates conditions where this reliability can reassert itself. Over time, the absence of urgency allows repair to accumulate. Small corrections complete their cycles. Systems stabilize without being interrupted by expectation. This accumulation is not dramatic. It does not arrive at a moment. It appears as a gradual return to baseline. Time during healing is not empty. It is full of processes that do not require awareness. The lack of sensation does not indicate stagnation. It indicates that systems are operating without conflict. Silence supports this by keeping the pace steady, not slow, not fast, appropriate. The body recognizes this steadiness as optimal for maintenance. It does not rush. It does not pause. It continues. As external cues remain minimal, internal rhythms guide recovery. Time becomes something that passes rather than something that is tracked. And within that passing, healing unfolds at the only speed it ever uses, its own. Stillness is often confused with stagnation, but biologically, the two are very different. Stagnation implies that systems have stopped moving. Stillness means they are no longer being pushed. In the body, most meaningful movement happens without visible change. Blood continues to circulate. Cells exchange nutrients and waste. Neural signals adjust their timing and strength. These processes do not require outward motion, and they do not benefit from urgency. When the environment becomes quiet and predictable, outward activity decreases. This decrease can feel unsettling in a culture that equates movement with progress. Without visible effort, it may seem as though nothing is advancing. But internally, the opposite is often true. Healing relies on subtle, continuous adjustments rather than dramatic shifts. Small imbalances are corrected quietly. Energy is redistributed gradually. Tissues rebuild at a pace that avoids strain. This kind of work is incompatible with constant stimulation. Stillness supports healing by reducing interference. When fewer external demands are present, internal systems are not repeatedly redirected. They can follow through on processes that require consistency. Repair cycles complete without interruption. Regulatory signals remain coherent. Stagnation occurs when systems lack the resources or conditions to proceed. Stillness occurs when systems no longer need to compensate. The difference lies in energy flow. In a state of constant input, energy is spent on adjustment. In a state of quiet, energy is conserved and redirected. That redirection allows internal movement to continue, even when outward movement slows. The nervous system plays a key role here. When vigilance is high, movement is biased toward response. Muscles prepare, attention scans. Hormonal signals favor action. This creates a sense of busyness, even when little changes. When vigilance softens, that busyness fades. The system no longer needs to rehearse response. It shifts into a mode that supports maintenance. Maintenance does not look like action. It looks like balance. Balance is dynamic, but it is not loud. Silence helps distinguish stillness from stagnation by removing cues that would otherwise demand movement. No sudden sounds, no visual urgency, no prompts to react. Without these cues, the body remains active in a different way. Breathing continues, but without adjustment. Heart rhythm adapts smoothly rather than reactively. Muscle tone redistributes evenly rather than bracing. These are signs of internal movement, not cessation. The mind often struggles with this distinction. In the absence of stimulation, thought may search for something to engage with. When nothing stands out, it may label the state as unproductive. This labeling is cognitive, not biological. From the body's perspective, stillness is a condition that allows work to proceed uninterrupted. Healing processes are not driven by effort. They are driven by conditions. When conditions remain stable, systems self-organize toward balance. Stillness provides that stability. Stagnation, by contrast, involves obstruction, insufficient circulation, persistent inflammation, unresolved stress signaling. These conditions are often accompanied by discomfort or repeated signals. Stillness lacks those signals because there is nothing that needs to be escalated. The absence of sensation is not absence of activity. It is absence of conflict. Silence supports this absence by preventing unnecessary activation. Without repeated cues to respond, internal movement continues along established pathways. This is why healing often coincides with periods that feel uneventful. Not because the body has paused, but because it no longer needs to adapt rapidly. Stillness allows systems to return to their preferred operating range, not forced, not rushed, simply allowed. Over time, this allowance leads to restoration. Gradual, consistent, unremarkable. The distinction between stillness and stagnation becomes clearer when urgency fades. When nothing needs immediate correction, movement no longer needs to be visible. Healing continues in this quieter mode, not through effort, but through uninterrupted internal motion. And so stillness reveals itself not as absence, but as a state where the body can move freely without being pulled in multiple directions at once. Silence reduces internal load by narrowing what the system needs to carry at any given moment. Internal load is not the same as stress. It is the sum of small demands placed on attention, regulation, and prediction. Every sound requires interpretation. Every change in light requires adjustment. Every shift in the environment invites a minor recalibration. Individually, these demands are small. Collectively, they are constant. When stimulation remains present, the nervous system maintains a background posture of readiness. It keeps track of what might matter next. It prepares for possible response. This preparation consumes energy even when no action is taken. Silence alters this posture by reducing the number of variables that must be tracked. With fewer auditory signals arriving, there is less sorting to be done. Sound no longer needs to be categorized by distance, direction, or relevance. The auditory system moves from active discrimination to passive monitoring. This shift reduces the amount of processing required moment to moment. Visual load follows a similar pattern. When visual complexity decreases, fewer details compete for attention. Edges are simpler. Movement is limited. Contrast remains stable. The visual system no longer needs to scan continuously for change. This narrowing of input has a cumulative effect. With fewer external demands, the nervous system reduces its internal accounting. There is less need to predict outcomes, less need to prepare explanations, less need to evaluate whether something requires action. The mind responds accordingly. Thought becomes less layered. There are fewer parallel threads running at once. Internal commentary slows not because it is suppressed, but because it is no longer being fed by incoming signals. This reduction is often subtle. There may be no clear sensation of relief, no emotional shift, no noticeable calm. Instead, there is a quiet simplification. From a physiological perspective, this simplification is significant. Internal systems operate more efficiently when cognitive load is low. Stress hormones fluctuate less dramatically. Autonomic signaling becomes more coherent. Energy that would have been spent on interpretation is redirected toward maintenance. Silence supports this redirection by removing unnecessary prompts. When nothing demands immediate attention, the system stops rehearsing response. Muscles release low-level tension without collapsing. Breathing becomes more economical. Heart rhythm adapts smoothly rather than sharply. These changes reduce internal effort. Effort is metabolically expensive. Even mental effort carries a physical cost. When effort decreases, resources become available for repair. This is why silence is often associated with recovery, even when no rest is intended. Moments of reduced input during the day, periods where activity slows naturally, intervals without interruption. In these spaces, internal load decreases without awareness. The body responds by reallocating energy. Processes that were operating at a reduced pace regain consistency. Cellular cleanup proceeds without interruption. Regulatory systems recalibrate gradually. None of this produces sensation because sensation would add load. Silence does not eliminate thought. It reduces the pressure placed upon it. Without constant input, the mind does not need to juggle multiple interpretations at once. It can remain present without analysis. This presence is not intentional. It emerges naturally when demands fall away. Healing benefits from this state because it reduces competition for resources. When fewer systems are active at once, each system functions more efficiently. This efficiency compounds over time. Small reductions in load lead to meaningful gains in stability. The absence of stimulation also reduces internal noise. Noise is not only external, it is the byproduct of continuous adjustment. Each adjustment creates a ripple. Silence reduces the number of ripples being generated. As internal noise decreases, regulation improves. The nervous system no longer needs to amplify signals to be heard. It can respond proportionally rather than defensively. This proportional response supports balance. Silence does not create emptiness. It creates capacity. Capacity allows internal systems to complete their work without interruption. It allows cycles to finish rather than restart. It allows balance to reassert itself gradually. This is why reduced internal load often feels unremarkable. Nothing calls for attention. Nothing asks to be fixed. Nothing escalates. From the body's perspective, this is optimal. Healing does not require focus. It requires room. Silence provides that room by narrowing the field of demand. With less to carry, the system moves more freely. With fewer inputs to manage, internal processes regain priority. And so healing continues, not because silence adds something, but because it removes what was quietly weighing the system down. The work proceeds in the background, steady, unobserved, uninterrupted. Repair thrives in familiar conditions, not because familiarity is comforting in an emotional sense, but because predictability reduces the number of adjustments the body must make. Every system in the body operates more efficiently when conditions remain stable. Temperature, light, sound, posture, and rhythm all contribute to this stability. When the environment is predictable, fewer corrections are required. The nervous system does not need to recalibrate constantly. Hormonal signaling can follow slower, steadier cycles. Circulatory patterns remain consistent. Energy can be directed toward maintenance rather than adaptation. Novelty interrupts this efficiency. New environments introduce variables, different sounds, unexpected movements, changes in lighting, timing, and spatial layout. Each variable requires interpretation. Each interpretation requires adjustment. These adjustments are not harmful. They are simply costly. Healing processes compete for the same resources used to manage change. When novelty increases, repair slows, not because the body cannot heal, but because it must prioritize adaptation. Silence often accompanies familiarity. Quiet spaces tend to be stable spaces. Sound levels remain consistent. There are fewer surprises, fewer sudden shifts in attention. The nervous system learns what to expect. This expectation matters. Predictability reduces vigilance. Reduced vigilance lowers baseline arousal. Lower arousal supports regulation and repair. The body responds to repeated conditions by optimizing for them. When surroundings remain the same, internal systems fine-tune their responses. Breathing aligns efficiently with metabolic needs. Heart rhythm adapts smoothly rather than reactively. Muscle tone distributes evenly rather than bracing for change. These optimizations take time. They require exposure to the same conditions repeatedly. Healing does not thrive in constant novelty because novelty prevents completion. Processes are interrupted before they can finish their cycles. Familiar conditions allow cycles to close. Cellular repair completes its sequence. Immune signaling resolves rather than escalates. Neural pathways strengthen or weaken without being repeatedly redirected. None of this produces sensation. Stability is quiet. The body does not celebrate predictability. It uses it. This is why healing often coincides with routines, even unintentional ones. Sleeping in the same space. Resting in the same posture. Returning to environments that do not demand adjustment. Silence reinforces these patterns by reducing variability. Without fluctuating sound levels, the auditory system remains in monitoring mode. Without visual novelty, the visual system reduces scanning. Without interruption, internal rhythms become more consistent. Consistency is metabolically efficient. Efficiency allows repair to proceed without competition. The mind may associate familiarity with boredom. Biologically, boredom simply reflects reduced stimulation. Reduced stimulation allows internal systems to work without interruption. Healing does not require interest. It requires steadiness. This is why dramatic change is rarely conducive to recovery. Large shifts demand attention. Attention increases monitoring. Monitoring sustains arousal. Familiar conditions bypass this cycle. They signal safety, not through reassurance, but through repetition. Nothing new happens. Nothing unexpected occurs. The nervous system learns that response is not required. Learning occurs through exposure, not instruction. Over time, predictable conditions recalibrate baseline expectations. The body stops preparing for interruption. It invests in long-term maintenance. Silence supports this investment by removing unnecessary variation. Quiet environments do not distract repair processes. They allow them to proceed uninterrupted. Cycles complete. Signals resolve. Healing thrives not because silence is special, but because it is consistent. Consistency allows accumulation. Small repairs add up. Minor corrections stabilize systems. energy distribution improves gradually. The result is not transformation. It is normalization. A return to baseline does not announce itself. It appears as absence of disturbance. Familiarity makes this absence possible. When nothing changes, nothing needs to be managed. When nothing needs to be managed, repair becomes the default activity. Silence contributes by holding the environment steady, not empty, not inactive, simply predictable. In that predictability, the body does what it has always done. It repairs, it recalibrates, it maintains balance without needing novelty, motivation, or awareness. Healing thrives in familiar conditions because familiarity removes friction. And when friction is gone, the work continues quietly, steadily, and without interruption. Forcing recovery often feels productive, but biologically, it creates the opposite conditions. Effort introduces monitoring. Monitoring increases arousal. Arousal redirects resources away from repair. This sequence is subtle but consistent. When healing is treated as a task, attention turns inward. Sensations are checked. Progress is evaluated. Time is measured. Each of these actions signals the nervous system to stay alert. Alertness is incompatible with deep recovery. The body interprets sustained attention as a sign that something still requires management. Management keeps systems prepared to respond. Prepared systems prioritize speed, not maintenance. Silence works differently. Quiet environments remove prompts that would otherwise invite evaluation. There is less to track, less to assess, less to correct. Without these prompts, the system does not receive signals that effort is required. Forcing recovery interrupts this natural shift. Trying to relax introduces a goal. Goals require monitoring. Monitoring keeps the nervous system engaged. This engagement is not emotional. It is physiological. Heart rate remains slightly elevated. Muscle tone does not fully redistribute. Breathing stays responsive rather than settling into efficiency. Hormonal signaling favors readiness over repair. None of this feels intense. It simply keeps systems from standing down. Healing is not improved by vigilance. Most repair processes are autonomous. They do not benefit from attention. They benefit from consistency. When recovery is pushed, conditions become unstable. Expectation creates fluctuation. Checking for results creates comparison. Comparison reintroduces urgency. Urgency increases variability. Variability disrupts internal rhythms. Silence avoids this cascade by removing the need to intervene. In quiet conditions, there is nothing to adjust, nothing to improve, nothing to measure. The absence of instruction allows systems to proceed without interruption. This is why healing often accelerates when effort stops. Not because the body responds to surrender, but because it responds to reduced demand. Demand is metabolically expensive. Every act of monitoring consumes energy. Every attempt to control introduces cognitive load. Cognitive load feeds back into the nervous system, sustaining arousal. Silence lowers demand by narrowing what needs attention. When nothing is being forced, the body defaults to maintenance. Maintenance does not require motivation. It does not require belief. It does not require participation. It requires conditions that remain steady long enough for cycles to complete. Forcing recovery shortens these cycles by interrupting them. Each time attention is pulled inward to check progress, the system adjusts. Adjustment resets the process. Resetting delays completion. Silence allows continuity. Without interruption, repair signals follow their course. Inflammation resolves gradually. Regulatory systems recalibrate without escalation. Energy distribution evens out. These processes are slow by design. They are not meant to respond to urgency. The body does not heal on command. It heals when competing demands are reduced. Silence contributes by removing cues that suggest action is required. No sudden sounds, no shifting visuals, no prompts to respond. Without these cues, effort naturally falls away. This falling away is not passivity. It is efficiency. Healing does not benefit from being encouraged. It benefits from being left undisturbed. When control is released, not intentionally but through reduced input, the nervous system stops preparing. When preparation stops, repair resumes priority. This transition is quiet. There is no sensation that effort has ceased. There is no moment of relief. There is simply less interference. Less interference allows the body to do what it has always been doing beneath the surface. Repair does not need to be accelerated. It needs to be uninterrupted. Silence offers that interruption-free space by making effort unnecessary. And in that absence of forcing, healing continues, steadily, quietly, and without resistance. The body does not need permission to heal. Healing is not a behavior that must be initiated, encouraged, or believed in. It is a set of ongoing processes that continue regardless of attention, intention, or understanding. Cells repair themselves without awareness. Regulatory systems adjust without instruction. Balance is continuously sought, even when it is not felt. Belief does not accelerate this work. Motivation does not sustain it. Attention does not guide it. From a biological perspective, healing is autonomous. The immune system does not wait for reassurance before resolving inflammation. Tissues do not ask whether it is a good time to repair. Neural systems recalibrate their signaling without checking for approval. These processes operate beneath cognition. Silence supports this autonomy by removing cues that suggest intervention is needed. When the environment is quiet and predictable, the nervous system receives no signal that something requires management. Without that signal, repair remains uninterrupted. There is no need to direct attention inward or outward. The idea that healing requires permission often arises from misunderstanding. When discomfort is present, attention is drawn to it. When attention is drawn inward, it feels as though healing must be actively supported. In reality, attention follows sensation, not the other way around. As sensation fades, attention naturally loosens. Silence helps this loosening by reducing external triggers that would otherwise pull focus back toward monitoring. Without constant reminders to check progress, the system remains in maintenance mode. Maintenance is not passive. It is continuous internal work occurring without demand. The body does not wait for motivation to maintain balance. It maintains balance because that is its default orientation. Effort can interfere with this orientation. Trying to help the body heal introduces monitoring. Monitoring increases arousal. Arousal reallocates resources toward readiness. Silence prevents this reallocation by making monitoring unnecessary. When nothing demands response, attention has nowhere to fixate. The system settles into its baseline activity. This settling does not require understanding. Understanding is a cognitive process. Healing is physiological. They operate on different timelines and do not depend on each other. The body does not need to know why it is quiet to benefit from quiet. It responds to conditions, not explanations. This is why healing often occurs during moments that feel unremarkable. Times when attention is elsewhere. Times when nothing is being tracked. Times when there is no expectation. In those moments, internal processes proceed without interruption. Silence provides a context where expectation fades. Without expectation, there is no urgency. Without urgency, there is no need to prepare. Without preparation, maintenance resumes priority. This sequence unfolds without awareness. No instruction is given. No permission is requested. The system simply continues its work. Healing does not require participation. It does not improve when supervised. It does not slow when ignored. It continues because the body is structured to restore balance whenever possible. Silence does not initiate this work. It allows it to continue without interference. If there is nothing to believe, nothing to focus on, and nothing to do, that does not prevent healing. It often supports it. The absence of effort is not neglect. It is efficiency. When the body is left alone long enough in stable conditions, it returns to its natural rhythms. This return does not feel like achievement. It feels like nothing needing attention. Silence helps create this state by removing cues that suggest action is required. And within that absence of permission, healing continues quietly. Not because it was invited, but because it never stopped. Silence functions less like an intervention and more like ongoing support. It does not begin healing. It sustains it. Once repair processes are underway, what matters most is continuity. Cycles need time to complete. Signals need consistency. Interruptions slow progress not by stopping it, but by forcing systems to reallocate attention. Silence helps prevent these reallocations. In quiet conditions, the nervous system does not receive repeated prompts to reassess the environment. There are fewer surprises to account for, fewer changes to interpret. As a result, internal processes are allowed to proceed without being paused or redirected. This support is subtle. Silence does not push the body toward healing. It stays present while healing continues on its own. Much of recovery depends on what does not happen. No sudden spikes in arousal. No repeated shifts in attention. No need to prepare for response. Silence holds these absences in place. When sound remains low and visual input stays stable, the system does not need to reset its priorities. Repair remains the dominant activity, simply because nothing interrupts it. This is why silence works best when it is sustained rather than dramatic. Brief quiet moments help. Extended quiet conditions help more. Not because healing needs isolation, but because consistency allows internal rhythms to settle into efficiency. Silence acts as a buffer. It absorbs small fluctuations before they propagate through the system. Minor changes do not escalate. internal signaling remains coherent. This buffering effect supports regulation. Breathing stays aligned with metabolic demand. Heart rhythm adapts smoothly rather than reactively. Muscle tone remains evenly distributed instead of bracing for interruption. These patterns do not require awareness. They persist as long as conditions remain supportive. Silence maintains those conditions by minimizing external variability. The body responds to this steadiness by investing further in maintenance. Energy is conserved. Repair cycles complete without being restarted. Balance deepens gradually. There is no moment when silence becomes noticeable as support. It does not announce itself. Support that works well often goes unnoticed. When healing continues without disruption, attention has no reason to turn inward. The absence of sensation reinforces the process rather than interrupting it. Silence sustains this absence. It does not compete with the body's efforts. It does not attempt to guide them. It simply stays out of the way. Over time, this non-interference allows cumulative repair to take hold. Small corrections add up. Systems stabilize. Energy distribution improves. None of this requires intention. Silence does not notice healing, and healing does not notice silence. They coexist because their goals do not conflict. Quiet environments reduce the likelihood that repair will be paused for response. They protect the continuity of internal work. This protection is gentle. Nothing is enforced. Nothing is restricted. The system simply experiences fewer reasons to shift focus outward. Silence remains present not as a tool, but as a background condition. A steady context that allows healing to proceed uninterrupted. And as long as that context remains, the body continues its work, quietly supported by what is not demanding attention. The body often settles before the mind understands why. Regulation does not require explanation. It occurs through shifts in physiology that happen automatically when conditions change. Heart rhythm adjusts. Breathing deepens or slows slightly. Muscle tone redistributes. None of these processes wait for interpretation. The mind, however, is oriented toward meaning. When change occurs, it looks for cause and effect. It tries to name what is happening. It searches for reasons, patterns, and explanations. This search is natural, but it is not necessary for regulation. Silence highlights this distinction. In quiet conditions, the body begins to settle as external demand decreases. The nervous system recalibrates without announcement. Regulatory systems shift priority without consulting cognition. The mind may notice these changes only after they have already occurred. This delay can feel confusing. Without a clear explanation, settling may feel accidental or temporary. The lack of narrative can make regulation feel uncertain. But biologically, narrative is not part of the process. The body responds to conditions, not stories. When stimulation reduces, vigilance softens. When vigilance softens, regulation increases. This sequence unfolds regardless of understanding. Silence supports this sequence by removing the need for interpretation. With fewer signals arriving, there is less to analyze. Thought becomes quieter because it is less provoked. This quieting is not deliberate. It happens because there is nothing demanding explanation. The mind may still attempt to make sense of the change. It may ask why calm appeared. It may wonder how long it will last. These questions do not interfere unless they reintroduce monitoring. Monitoring pulls attention back toward readiness. Readiness increases arousal. Arousal competes with regulation. Silence minimizes this competition by keeping demand low. When nothing changes suddenly, the system does not need to explain itself. Regulation continues without being named. This is why healing often feels difficult to articulate. There is no single cause to point to, no technique to credit, no moment to identify. The body does not settle because it has been convinced. It settles because conditions allow it to. Silence provides those conditions without requiring understanding. The nervous system does not need the mind to approve of its adjustments. It responds to sensory input directly. This autonomy is efficient. When regulation precedes explanation, repair proceeds without delay. When explanation is required first, progress slows. Silence reverses this order by making explanation unnecessary. In quiet environments, the body is free to settle first. Understanding, if it arrives at all, comes later. Often, it does not arrive. This absence is not a problem. The body does not require insight to maintain balance. It requires predictability. Predictability reduces the need for interpretation. Without interpretation, the mind relaxes its grip on control. This relaxation allows regulation to deepen. Over time, repeated experiences of settling without explanation recalibrate expectations. The system learns that safety does not require understanding. Calm does not need justification. Silence supports this learning by consistently removing prompts for analysis. When there is nothing to figure out, the body is free to regulate. Healing benefits from this freedom. Repair processes complete their cycles without being interrupted by inquiry. Balance is restored without narrative. The mind may eventually notice that things feel steadier. It may attempt to explain why, but by the time it does, the work is already underway. Silence does not answer questions. It makes them unnecessary. And in that absence of explanation, the body continues to settle, regulating first, understanding later, if at all. Quiet can feel unfamiliar, even when nothing is wrong. For many people, low stimulation is not a common state. Days are filled with sound, movement, notifications, and visual change. Attention is pulled outward repeatedly. The nervous system adapts to this level of input and treats it as normal. When quiet appears, the contrast can feel noticeable, not alarming, not distressing, just unfamiliar. This unfamiliarity is often misinterpreted. The absence of stimulation can be mistaken for something missing. Without constant input, the system may search for cues. Thought may become more apparent simply because there is less competing noise. This does not mean the body is unsafe. It means the system is encountering a state it does not frequently inhabit. Biologically, unfamiliarity does not equal danger. The nervous system responds to quiet by reassessing. It checks whether reduced input signals a problem. When nothing else changes, it gradually updates its expectations. This updating takes time. Familiarity grows through exposure, not effort. The body does not need to be convinced that quiet is safe. It learns safety through repetition. Each moment of low stimulation that passes without incident reinforces stability. Silence supports this learning process by remaining consistent. When sound stays low and visual input remains steady, the nervous system stops anticipating change. Vigilance softens. Monitoring replaces preparation. This shift may feel strange at first. Without constant cues to respond, attention has less to do. Thought may wander. Awareness may feel broader or flatter. These sensations are not signs of discomfort. They are signs of reduced demand. Quiet often reveals baseline states that are normally masked by activity. Subtle bodily sensations, neutral emotional tones, unstructured awareness. None of these require action. The mind may attempt to label them. It may wonder why calm feels different. It may expect a clearer feeling of relief. When that relief does not appear, doubt can arise. Biologically, this doubt is unnecessary. Regulation does not announce itself. It stabilizes. Silence does not create calm instantly. It allows calm to emerge gradually. As the system learns, there is nothing to manage. This learning is cumulative. Each quiet interval reinforces the message that response is not required. Each moment without interruption reduces baseline alertness slightly. Over time, quiet becomes less noticeable. Familiarity replaces novelty. As familiarity grows, the nervous system no longer treats silence as something to evaluate. It becomes part of the background, just another stable condition. Healing benefits from this normalization. When quiet is no longer remarkable, internal systems operate without interference. Repair proceeds without being paused by reassessment. There is no need to force comfort. Comfort emerges when unfamiliarity fades. The body adapts to quiet the same way it adapts to any repeated condition. Gradually, without instruction, without effort. Silence does not ask the system to feel safe. It allows safety to be learned. If quiet feels unusual, that does not mean something is wrong. It means the system is adjusting to reduce stimulation. Adjustment is not discomfort. It is calibration. Over time, what once felt unfamiliar becomes neutral. What felt neutral becomes supportive. Silence remains steady throughout this process. It does not rush adaptation. It does not demand acceptance. It simply stays present. And as familiarity grows, the body settles more easily. Not because quiet was forced to feel comfortable, but because it was allowed to remain long enough to become known. Healing does not require a story to unfold. The body does not narrate its own repair. It does not explain why tissue strengthens, why inflammation resolves, or why balance returns. These processes occur without meaning, intention, or interpretation. They are functional, not symbolic. Narrative belongs to the mind. The mind is skilled at creating coherence. It looks for causes, lessons, and arcs. When something changes, it tries to explain what happened and why. This tendency is useful for learning, but it is not necessary for healing. Silence reduces the impulse to create narrative. In quiet conditions, there are fewer events to interpret. Nothing dramatic happens. Nothing demands explanation. Without contrast or urgency, The need to make sense of experience softens. Healing benefits from this softness. When narrative falls away, attention no longer tracks progress. There is no internal commentary measuring improvement. No story about where the body was and where it should be. This absence reduces monitoring. Monitoring increases arousal. Arousal competes with regulation. By removing the story, silence removes a layer of demand. The body does not require meaning to repair itself. Cells respond to chemical signals, not explanations. Tissues rebuild according to biological rules, not personal significance. Neural systems recalibrate through use and rest, not insight. Narrative can even interfere. When the mind assigns meaning to sensation, attention sharpens. Attention increases vigilance. Vigilance sustains readiness. Readiness delays repair. Silence prevents this escalation by keeping experience neutral. Neutrality does not invite interpretation. It does not feel important. It does not ask to be understood. This allows internal processes to proceed uninterrupted. Healing without narrative often feels invisible. There is no moment to point to, no realization, no emotional resolution. The absence of story can feel unsatisfying to the mind, but it is efficient for the body. Efficiency favors continuity. When nothing needs to be explained, nothing needs to be watched. When nothing is watched, systems remain free to complete their cycles. Silence supports this freedom by offering no material for narrative construction. There is nothing to analyze, nothing to frame, nothing to interpret. The body continues working in this quiet absence. Repair accumulates slowly. Balance returns gradually. Energy distribution evens out without notice. Meaning may eventually be added later, after the fact. The mind may look back and assign a story. It may describe healing as a journey or a turning point. But the work itself did not rely on that story. It happened without commentary. Silence keeps healing close to its functional roots. Not symbolic, not explanatory, simply biological. In this state, the body is not trying to become something else. It is returning to baseline. That return does not require narrative. It requires conditions that allow processes to run without interruption. Silence provides those conditions by stepping aside. And within that absence of story, healing continues, quietly, steadily, without needing to be understood in order to be complete. Healing often reveals itself as a return rather than a transformation. There is a common expectation that recovery should feel dramatic, a clear shift, a noticeable improvement, a sense of becoming something new. Biologically, healing rarely works this way. Most repair processes aim to restore baseline function, to bring systems back into their normal operating range, not to create a new state, but to remove what was interfering with the original one. This return is quiet. As inflammation resolves, sensation fades rather than changes form. As nervous system activity stabilizes, urgency decreases instead of flipping into calm. As energy redistributes, fatigue lifts without announcing itself. The absence of symptoms is subtle. When something no longer hurts, attention moves on. When tension dissolves gradually, there is no moment to mark. When balance returns, it feels ordinary. Silence supports this ordinariness. In quiet conditions, there is less contrast to highlight change. Without frequent interruptions, improvements blend into the background. The system does not need to announce progress because nothing demands response. This lack of announcement can be misinterpreted. The mind may look for evidence of transformation and find none. It may assume healing has stalled because nothing stands out. In reality, baseline has returned. Baseline does not feel special. It feels neutral. From a physiological perspective, neutrality is success. Systems operate best when they are not compensating. Breathing aligns with metabolic demand. Heart rhythm adapts smoothly. Muscle tone distributes evenly. These states do not produce sensation because they do not require attention. Healing aims for this lack of demand. Silence allows the return to baseline to unfold without interference. Without stimulation pulling attention outward, the body does not need to keep checking itself. Repair completes its cycles. Regulatory systems recalibrate fully rather than partially. This completion takes time. The return to baseline is gradual. Small corrections accumulate. Imbalances resolve incrementally. There is no single moment where healing finishes. Instead, there is a quiet noticing that things feel less difficult, less effortful, less reactive. Often, this noticing happens only in hindsight. Silence helps by removing pressure to identify change. When nothing is being tracked, there is nothing to compare. The system remains free to settle. Baseline is not a destination. It is a range. Healing returns systems to that range without drawing attention. This is why recovery often feels anticlimactic. There is no revelation, no emotional closure, just a steady absence of what once required management. Silence protects this absence. By keeping conditions predictable, it prevents reactivation of vigilance. The body remains in maintenance mode. Healing does not announce its success. It dissolves the need for attention. When the need is gone, what remains feels ordinary. And in that ordinariness, the body continues, stable, regulated, and quietly returned to itself. There are moments when nothing needs fixing. From the outside, this can look like inactivity. From the inside, it is often regulation. When the body no longer signals for attention, it does not mean something has been overlooked. It means the system is not detecting imbalance that requires correction. Signals arise to prompt action. When action is no longer required, signals fade. This absence is meaningful. Pain, tension, and urgency exist to mobilize response. They are tools, not permanent states. When they withdraw, the body is indicating that response is no longer necessary. Silence helps make this withdrawal possible. In quiet conditions, there are fewer prompts to reassess. No sudden sounds to trigger readiness, no visual changes to demand interpretation. Without these cues, the nervous system stops checking for problems. Checking itself is effort. Effort sustains arousal. Arousal keeps systems prepared rather than settled. When checking ceases, settling follows. Settling does not feel like relief. It feels like neutrality. Neutrality is often misunderstood. It can feel empty because nothing stands out. It can feel uneventful because there is no contrast. But biologically, neutrality indicates that systems are operating within their preferred range. Nothing needs fixing because nothing is out of place. The body does not maintain balance by constant correction. It maintains balance by allowing stable patterns to continue uninterrupted. Silence protects these patterns. Without repeated disturbances, internal rhythms remain coherent. Breathing stays aligned with metabolic demand. Heart rhythm adapts smoothly. Muscle tone distributes evenly rather than bracing for response. These states do not require awareness. Awareness often returns only when something changes. When nothing needs fixing, attention has no reason to turn inward. This absence of focus can feel unfamiliar in a culture that values improvement. But improvement implies deficit. Regulation implies sufficiency. Silence supports sufficiency by removing prompts that suggest something must be done. The body does not need to be optimized to heal. It needs to be left alone long enough to return to its own balance. When nothing demands attention, repair continues quietly in the background. Maintenance remains the dominant activity. This state is not fragile. It does not require guarding. It does not require protection. It is resilient precisely because it is not being managed. Silence allows this resilience to persist by staying out of the way. No instructions are given. No adjustments are made. Nothing is fixed because nothing is broken. The absence of action is not neglect. It is confirmation. Confirmation that the system does not need to escalate. Confirmation that balance is being maintained. Healing often looks like this. Not effort. Not transformation. Just the quiet absence of signals. Silence makes this absence possible by removing unnecessary demand. And within that quiet, when nothing needs fixing, the body continues, regulated, sufficient, and allowed to remain exactly as it is. Silence continues working even when it is no longer noticed. Once the body has shifted into a state of regulation, it does not require ongoing supervision. Repair processes do not pause when attention drifts elsewhere. They continue as long as conditions remain supportive. Silence supports this continuity. It does not need to be maintained consciously. It does not require effort to be effective. Its influence persists simply by remaining present. When external demand stays low, internal systems remain prioritized. There is no need to repeatedly reassess. No need to reset. No need to return to regulation because it has not been disrupted. This persistence is important. Healing does not progress through moments of attention. It progresses through uninterrupted time. Silence protects that time. Even when awareness shifts, even when thought wanders, the absence of stimulation continues to reduce demand. The nervous system remains in monitoring mode rather than response mode. Energy stays allocated toward maintenance. This allocation is stable. Breathing remains efficient without adjustment. Heart rhythm adapts smoothly rather than reactively. Immune and metabolic systems continue their work without interruption. None of this requires awareness. Silence does not need to be experienced to be effective. The body does not notice silence in the way the mind does. It responds to reduced input automatically. As long as variability remains low, regulation persists. This is why healing often continues after attention has moved on. Once the system has updated its expectations, it does not revert without cause. Predictable conditions reinforce stability. Silence provides those conditions by remaining consistent. Even small fluctuations are absorbed without escalation. The system does not need to respond because nothing suggests it should. This steadiness allows repair to deepen. Processes that require extended time complete their cycles. Regulatory patterns stabilize further. Energy distribution improves incrementally. The absence of sensation does not indicate inactivity. It indicates that systems are operating efficiently. Silence supports this efficiency by minimizing interruptions. It does not compete with internal work. It does not distract from it. It simply continues to remove what would otherwise demand attention. Over time, this removal compounds. Small advantages accumulate. Maintenance remains uninterrupted. Healing continues without needing to be restarted. The mind may forget that silence is present. The body does not. It continues to respond to the conditions provided. This is the quiet power of silence as support. Not as a moment, not as an intervention, but as an ongoing context that allows healing to persist beyond awareness. As long as that context remains, the body continues its work, steadily, quietly, and without supervision. Healing does not conclude with a clear ending. There is no final signal that announces completion, no moment that confirms the process is finished. Biologically, healing is not a task that reaches resolution and stops. It is an ongoing adjustment that continues as long as the body exists. The desire for closure comes from the mind. The mind prefers beginnings, middles, and endings. It looks for milestones to mark progress. It wants to know when something is over, so attention can move on. The body does not work this way. Repair does not follow a narrative arc. It does not reach a final state and lock it in permanently. Instead, it maintains balance through constant, small corrections. Silence supports this ongoing process by removing pressure to conclude. When nothing demands attention, there is no need to define an endpoint. The system continues its work without being asked whether it is finished. Closure can introduce urgency. When healing is expected to end, monitoring increases. Progress is evaluated. Sensations are checked for confirmation. This checking reactivates vigilance. Vigilance shifts resources away from maintenance. Silence avoids this shift by allowing the process to remain open-ended. Open-ended does not mean incomplete. It means uninterrupted. Healing unfolds across time without needing to be wrapped up. Systems adapt continuously. Balance is maintained through repetition, not finality. The absence of a clear ending can feel unsettling to the mind. Without closure, there is nothing to point to, nothing to celebrate, nothing to label as complete. Biologically, this is not a problem. The body does not require recognition to continue functioning well. It requires consistency. Silence provides that consistency by staying present without demanding resolution. When the environment remains predictable, the system does not need to reassess. Repair continues at the pace required. Maintenance remains the priority. There is no moment when healing becomes unnecessary. There are only moments when less correction is needed. Silence allows those moments to blend together. Without a defined endpoint, the process remains flexible. Small imbalances are addressed as they arise. No escalation is required. This flexibility supports long-term regulation. Healing that is allowed to remain unfinished is not fragile. It is resilient. Resilience does not depend on completion. It depends on continuity. Silence protects continuity by removing pressure to conclude. Nothing needs to be wrapped up. Nothing needs to be resolved. Nothing needs to be finalized. The work continues quietly, without ceremony. The mind may eventually lose interest in marking progress. Attention moves elsewhere. This does not interrupt healing. It supports it. When the process is not being watched, it remains free to continue. Silence holds this freedom by refusing to signal an ending. Healing remains ongoing, not because it is incomplete, but because the body is always adjusting. And so the process is allowed to remain unfinished, open, continuous, and quietly sustained by conditions that do not ask it to stop. As this quiet time continues, there is nothing to carry forward, no conclusion to remember, no insight to hold on to, no change that needs to be marked. Healing does not require a closing moment. It does not pause when attention shifts away. It does not depend on recognition. Silence remains, even when it is no longer noticed. The body continues its steady work beneath awareness. Breathing finds its own rhythm. Circulation maintains its pace. Small adjustments continue without effort or instruction. Nothing needs to be watched. Nothing needs to be guided. If thoughts drift, that is fine. If awareness softens, that is fine. Healing does not require presence to continue. Silence is not something to keep. It does not belong to this moment alone. It extends beyond it, carrying the same low demand and steady support wherever attention rests. There is no signal that this time is complete, no boundary where the process ends. The quiet that allowed healing to unfold remains available, unchanged by notice or neglect. And so, as you rest here, or drift elsewhere, the body continues, repairing, regulating, maintaining balance in its own time. Nothing more is needed. The quiet stays. The healing continues.